So where we left off, George Washington is president. Alexander Hamilton, the Secretary of the Treasury, is trying to get the Revolutionary War debts paid off, and he needs the help of the southern states. The southern states are not happy about this, though, because they didn't have any debts themselves. So in a compromise, they agreed to move the capital from New York City down to a new capital, which will become the District of Columbia, which is today Washington, D.C. And this gives the South more access to the capital, and it allows Southerners to be closer to the capital and have more influence in national affairs, at least in their mindset. So it was kind of a compromise that made everyone was acceptable to everyone. While this is going on, there's a huge battle going on in George Washington's own cabinet. Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson and Secretary of the Treasury Alexander Hamilton totally and completely disagree with each other on almost every issue. Jefferson wants the government to be small, weak, protect the powers of the states and the freedom of the people. Hamilton wants to create a world superpower with a strong national government, strong economy, strong military that is based on city life and manufacturing. Jefferson, on the other hand, wants people to live simple, rural lives with plenty of freedom. He thinks farmers are the most important part of the economy. He wants to encourage people to do more farming, and he wants less manufacturing and trade and those type of things. He thinks that causes a society to become more corrupt. Hamilton's in support of high tariffs because he wanted people to buy American goods here in America. He didn't want the British bringing their goods over here at a cheaper price. So if the British brought their goods over, he'd put a high tariff or tax on import on it, and it would raise the price of it and make the American goods look better. And so he wanted people to buy American. Jefferson was for low taxes across the board. He was opposed to any tariffs. He knew that many of the farmers in the South received their supplies and tools from Britain, and he didn't want them to have to pay more than they had to for it. So on almost any and every issue, they disagree. They have two completely different viewpoints of how America should go, and they have two completely different backgrounds where they're coming from. Jefferson was a plantation owner's son, wealthy all his life. And ironically, he spent most of his political career trying to protect the poor farmer, while Hamilton was an abandoned orphan growing up, and he made everything himself, and grew up worked in New York City, and became rich and powerful through his own doing. And he thought that the educated and rich should be more in control of society. On the issue of the national bank, Alexander Hamilton wanted to create a national bank that would be a place for the government to print money that was uniform and coins that were uniform and national mint, a place for the government to store its tax money so it could pay its bills, a place for the government could help money circulate and control the economy. Jefferson is against this. He says that there's nowhere in the Constitution where it's written that the government can create a bank. And so Jefferson is against it. Hamilton argued that there's nowhere that it says we can't create a bank also. So they have two completely different views. In the end, Hamilton won out, and the national bank was built in New York. Jefferson's view of the Constitution is called strict construction. Basically, he said if it's not approved by the Constitution, government cannot do it. Government should take the Constitution word for word and only do things the Constitution allows. Hamilton, on the other end, believed in loose construction. He said that government could do anything that was reasonable for the good of the people as long as the Constitution doesn't forbid it. So he has a more loose interpretation of the Constitution. Strict construction, and people who believe in that, want government to be very small and controlled by the Constitution, which gives more freedom to the people, while loose construction people want the government to have more freedom and more power to do more for the people. So it's two completely different takes on what America should be, and they disagreed about it bitterly. In the end, Hamilton won out, and Congress and George Washington agreed with him, and they created the national bank, and it was a big success. It helped stabilize the economy, and still today we have national banks, the Federal Reserve banks, which insure our other lower private banks, lend money to our private banks, and ensure that money is circulated properly in our economy. So Hamilton wins out, but this is going to make Jefferson very angry as he's feeling like his ideas are being left out of the Washington administration. So we'll stop there and continue on tomorrow.